بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to respected Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani and our respected viewers for joining us today in this first session of this new Turath course on Mufti Taqi Usmani's very valuable and perceptive book, Islam and Politics. I think without a shadow of a doubt, I think we are in need of great moral guidance in this age of confusion, and we look to our ulama to give us that guidance, the inheritors of the prophets, Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and I think we would say that we are joined by one of them today, inshallah ta'ala. What I'll do very briefly, I will give an introduction to Mufti Taqi Saab, and then an overview of what we're going to be doing today in terms of schedule. Maybe I'll start with the schedule. The schedule for today is that Mufti Taqi Saab will give an overview of his book, Islam and Politics, pointing out some of the more critical points that relate to the current crisis the Muslims are undergoing in terms of politics. And that will be for around half an hour, inshallah ta'ala. After that, there will be an opportunity for Q&A. The instructors, some of them are joining us, they will be asking Mufti Saab some direct questions. And then maybe we will pick up some of the questions from the viewers as well, inshallah ta'ala, as the night goes on. We don't have a lot of time because it is already late where Mufti Taqi Saab is. So very briefly, an introduction, Mufti Taqi Usmani's biography. I don't really need to give an introduction, but Mufti Taqi Usmani is the head of the Darul Uloom in Karachi, where he graduated from. He is also the son of the great Mufti Azam Pakistan, Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Shafi Uthmani, rahmatullahi alayhi. And he comes from a very noble scholarly family. His brother was the former Mufti Azam Pakistan, Mufti Muhammad Rafi Uthmani, rahmatullahi alayhi. May Allah have mercy on both of them. And he has written many, many books in many fields of Islam and its sciences. And the book that we're interested in today is Islam and Politics. The final point I'll mention, his dear friend Prince Ghazi describes him as a beautiful mind, if ever there was one. And so we are very honored that Mufti Taqi Saab has joined us for tonight's session. Feel free to put your questions in the chat as the session goes on, and we will try to pick some of them up. But otherwise, I will ask, inshallah, Mufti Taqi Saab to start his talk about his book and the points related to the current crisis and the difficulties the Muslims are going through in the world, inshallah. Bismillah, Mufti Saab.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammadin Khatamin Nabiyyin wa Imam al-Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I am very happy to know that Turath Publications has organized a course on the Islamic politics in the light of my humble book, Islam and Politics. Inshallah, it will be of great benefit for those who want to know about what Islam has said about the politics. Unfortunately, we have two extreme ideas with regard to the politics as attributed to Islam. On the one part, there are some people who say that Islam has nothing to do with politics at all. It has only it is only relates to the aqaid and ibadat, and to some extent with some muamalat. But so far as politics is concerned, the Islam has not given us a detailed guidance on the principles that should underlie the political life. On the other hand, there are some people who say that the basic and ultimate purpose of Islam is politics. And therefore, if anyone is doing some work other than implementing Islamic Sharia on the world, he is doing nothing. And therefore, they uh, believe that the ultimate purpose of Islam was to establish a government based on the Islamic principles of politics. And all other things like ibadat, salah, zakah, hajj, even hajj and umrah, they were just tools or some ways to adopt for preparing Muslims to establish an Islamic state. This is also a great misunderstanding. The truth is that we should deal with Islamic politics, not a political Islam. There is big difference between the two concepts. Islam has given us some guidance about our political life, as well as the Islam has given guidance in our family affairs, on ibadat, on muamalat, transactions, commercial transactions, economy, etc. So Islam has given us some principles with regard to the politics. This should be taken as Islamic politics, as if we say that Islam has given some basic principles about our economic life, socio-economic life, then these guidances or these teachings may be termed as Islamic economics. But one cannot say that Islam was the basic goal or basic purpose or basic ultimate goal of Islam was to develop a good economy. So we can say that there are Islamic economic principles, but we cannot say that economic Islam. In the same way, we should understand that Islam has given some guidance about our political life that we should study, and we go through the principles underlying the Islamic politics, but we should not be confused with the term of political Islam, which means that the ultimate purpose is to establish a state, a Islamic state on the earth. So I have taken this subject, Islam and politics, and it was also a series of lectures that I have given to certain ulama uh, about for about half 3 months or so, and in in those lectures, firstly I have clarified the concept of politics in Islam. Then I have explained that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He gave us guidance about our political life, it has established some basic principles. It is the beauty of Islamic Sharia that in practical life, Islam lays down some basic principles which are eternal, which are for all times to come, and there is no one can alter them or change them. But these are some basic principles. So far as a person believes in those principles and acts accordingly, he can enjoy the the vast area of his own understanding, on the understanding of the community, and on ideas given by the contemporary scholars. So I have explained in this book, firstly, the uh, the basic place of a politics in Islam. Then I have tried to uh, explain the basic principles underlying the ahkam of Sharia that relate to political life. And the the what made me uh, emphasize on some Islamic principles is the beauty of Islam, that he, after laying out some basic principles, it has given us a choice according to our needs, according to the need of the time. And therefore, I have explained these principles. The next question was how to implement those principles in our present life. For example, there is a democratic concepts that are widely accepted by most countries of the world, and there are some socialist concepts. There are some uh, other concepts also, which I have explained in my Urdu book, in the first part of my Urdu book, which is not translated here in this book of Islam and politics. So, but the principle was that at one hand, on the one hand, Islam says that there should be a government. There should be a government under the sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that government must adhere to the teachings and injunctions provided by the Holy Quran and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On the other hand, we say that, for example, if we take the principle of shura, that is consulting each other, this is one of the basic principles of Islamic politics. But how this principles can be implemented in our contemporary life, how to elect the people, how to elect the Ahlul Halli wal Aqd. Because on other side, Islam says that no one can be competent to be a, a person of cannot be competent as a ruler or as having a basic designation in the Islamic State, who wants it, who himself himself offers himself to be nominated as president or prime minister or the member of the parliament. So how can we manage these two principles together? On one hand, we have to make shura. On the other hand, we want a shura that is not elected by candidature, but that can be elected by some other ways or other styles. So this is what I have explained in the second part of my book, and I have suggested some measures through which we combine the concept of shura on one hand and the concept of non asking anyone to be candidate for a particular designation. So, and other principles also have been explained to some extent, but these are the basic uh, characteristics of this book, which you, inshallah, will go through these lectures that are arranged by Turath publication. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He may make this effort successful and it may clear the concept of Islamic politics within in the minds of those who will attend these lectures. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Mufti Saab. Is it okay if we do a few questions, inshallah, before you make your way? I think one question there's a good question that's come up. I'll ask a couple. Number one is, what guidance would you give to Muslims living right now? We're seeing the current political crisis that the Muslim around the world are going through. In terms of what we can do and what implementation and political work we should be doing as Muslims, what guidance would you give with regards to that?
For, in fact, I have suggested the way in which the Islamic politics can be implemented in a country that is governed by Muslims. And there are many countries governed by the Muslims throughout the world. And this is the roadmap for those countries if they wish to implement Sharia, to make their politics adherent to the Islamic principles. So I have given the roadmap. I have given the basic principles on which an Islamic state could be established. So this is the ulama, scholars, and effective circles of the society that may conduce to the government of their respective governments to implement these principles and implement their constitution or alter their constitution accordingly. So this is the peaceful way of implementing Sharia in those countries.
A question that's come up is about the nation state versus the Khilafah. At the moment, we have many Muslim nation states all around the world. Should we be working to reform the current nation state model, or should we be working to unite Muslim countries into a larger political authority that's multinational?
We should be very practical when we want to reform something. So, if we speak of Khilafah at this stage, and to make all the Muslim countries united under the name of Khilafah, it cannot be done without a bloodshed, without bloodshed of the Muslims throughout the world, throughout the Muslim world. Therefore, at the first stage, we should try to make these nation states adherent to the Islamic principles. We should try that each country adopts the basic principles of its constitution according to Islamic Sharia and try to implement Sharia. Once this is done, and all the countries are uh, are you know quite quite happy with implementing Sharia in their respective countries, then there may come a stage in which we can advise or we can invite these countries to form a like some confederation, and we can do or revive the concept of khilafah. But today, if we raise the uh, raise this question, and we raise that all the countries should be under one khilafah, all the Muslim countries, it is practically very difficult and it will require battles and bloodshed. Therefore, we should be very practical and we should do what we can do at this moment. So, firstly, we should try the Muslim governments today the Muslim governments today, uh, you know, go back to the basic concept of sovereignty of Allah and then amend their constitution accordingly and then make the Quran and Sunnah the basic resource of making laws. This is the practical way that we can adopt. So for as far as the concept of national state as understood by the West, it means that the state should be based on uh, ethnic principles, or should be based according to a particular area, and it also contains the concept of secularism. Nation state, according to the understanding of the West, is also is always, you know, has the concept of secularism, and it says that a state should be based on the concept of nations. Nations in the meaning of their uh, ethnicity and their areas. So this concept is quite wrong according to the Islamic Sharia. The state should be based on this basic concept of sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So far as the basic concept of national state is concerned, it is quite foreign to the Islamic Sharia. But what I am speaking of is that at this moment there are nation states. They are existing as national states. If we want to convert them into a one khilafah or a united state of khilafah, it will require some that will require a civil war between the Muslim countries. Therefore, what I suggest is that each country, the scholars and people should try to make their constitution conforming to the Islamic principles. And once this is done in each country, then there may come a stage in which we can invite all these Muslim countries to be under one umbrella of Khilafah.
Hazrat, you've spoken a lot about Muslim countries. A lot of us, especially a lot of the viewers right now, are living in the West. I live in England. Some are from Australia. Some are from the UK, the United States of America. In terms of political movements here, the right and the left both are against Palestine. They are both pro the
What?
genocide that's.
Against what? Against what?
They are against Palestine, Palestine.
Okay. Yes.
And so Muslims don't want to vote for either of the right wing party or the socialist left wing party. So, what is the guidance that you give for Muslim communities in the UK with regards to voting in elections, with regards to what should we be trying to do in civil society for the Palestinian cause or whatever political cause that Muslims have?
Answer to this question requires, a detailed information about uh, the state of affairs in England, and also the ideas of right and left. I cannot give an answer offhand without having full information about these things.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you
Um,
very much.
another question. Hazrat, if ever you need to leave, you just need to tell me that you need to leave, and we can stop, inshallah. You spoke about reforming the Muslim countries. How can Muslims help reforming a Muslim country from within? What are the steps Muslims can take to help political reform of the nation states they live in at the moment to make them understand the sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the other things you mentioned?
This could be done by establishing, first of all, making the mindset of people to accept these principles and to undertake the ways of talim and tarbiyah, and to groom groom people on these principles, and to try to convert the system into a pure Islamic state concepts. If I quote my own country, our constitution is mostly Islamic because at the very outset, the constitution says that sovereignty belongs to Allah alone, and the people who who are elected as representatives, they must uh, must adopt or uh, must do whatever they are doing according to the teachings of the Holy Quran and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. This is the basic principles on which our constitution is based. So I think that we should try that all the Muslim countries adopt this type of constitution, although there are many uh, practical practically there are many evils that we are not yet able to overcome, but the basic principle is there on the constitution. If the government acts on the constitution with the sincerity, it will be turned into a true Islamic state. So we should try in all Muslim countries to make their constitution according to this basic principle. And inshallah, it if you know the people are sincere about it and work according to the wisdom, according to the hikmah, the that goal cannot be can is not impossible to come into being. So thank you very much, and I you know I want your permission to leave now. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah ta'ala khairan jaza. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He may make your course very successful and to understand the basic concepts of Islamic state or Islamic politics. And Allah, may Allah give reward to the brother to the brothers who have arranged these series of lectures and who are going to deliver these lectures, inshallah. And I hope that it will be a good exercise and will bring good fruits, inshallah. Wassalamu
جزاك
alaikum
الله خير.
wa
ويا سلام.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا سلام.